Appreciate all you guys do.
Good evening, everyone from Burlington and beyond. Tonight we have a special guest, the Selectman from Billerica, our neighbor. His name is George Simolaris, and recently he's been doing a great job with his painting business. But before we begin, I want to also introduce Pat. And Pat, congratulations on being on the Capital Budget Committee.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Paul, I guess you're on the Rules Committee and have become chair. I'd like
Yes.
to hear it. Congratulations also.
Thank you.
I'm Larry Way. I'm not representing Ways and Means tonight, but nevertheless, that's where I also work on the town government. And George, we really are pleased that you chose to join us tonight.
It's my honor.
We hope you can tell us a little bit about what's happening in Billerica and a little bit about how you got painted into a corner.
Right, yeah. Well, do you want me to start now?
Sure.
Well, of course, I'm a selectman in Billerica, and we are doing a small project through the center. We're putting some brick pavers. And just to step back a couple of years is that we had a major road configuration we wanted to do in 2012. Town meeting passed it through. I was a town meeting member. I thought it was a bad plan. They were going to get rid of our rotary, and I took a petition against this, and we set up a special election. And the people that wanted to do the center over, this was a 14 million. I thought it would have been closer to 20 million project. If we didn't get 20% of the electorate to come out in our charter, it's called a no vote. So nobody would advertise the election. Hoping not one person wrote a letter, please come out and vote for this, to our residents, and I made signs, save the center, vote no. We had 10,000 people come out and vote, which was enough. We have 40,000 residents, 27,000 registered voters, and we had 10,000 voters come out.
Wow.
So anyway, so we, so then I ran for selectman against what I thought guys that circumvented democracy. If I was a selectman, I at least would have wrote a letter or said something if I was for this project, but they were hoping the 20%, would not come out and they would get it. So anyway, that's the background, little bad blood over that. So then we have this project now where we're putting some crosswalks through the town center, and we're supposed to be done by November. It was not, and we always do our crosswalks around the center by Little League opening day, by Memorial Day at least. And the manager, said, oh, we're going to wait until we get this other little project done in the center, and then we're going to plastic, white, with that white plastic epoxy they use on the crosswalks.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then some people started asking me, we have a kids connection playground right on one of the crosswalks. I did like 6 crosswalks, all within a 16th of a mile. And
when did you do this?
I did this on Friday, a week ago, Friday, 10 days ago. I started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. On a Friday afternoon, that'd be a pretty busy time, wouldn't it?
It was, yeah.
Traffic.
What happened was I was in the center, and the barber kept asking me when it was going to be done. There's a barber shop in Billerica Center, and then the crosswalk leads right into a parking lot across Andover Road, and he kept asking when it's going to be done. So I kept telling him, the manager kept saying this and that. Anyway, so on Friday, I was going in insurance, and he caught me, and he said, you told me it was going to be done in May, then June, then you said it'd be done by July 4th. When's it going to be done? And I said it'll be done today.
Wow.
So, I put a white suit on, and I was careful. I just did in between the triangular pattern. I didn't get any green paint. I picked green because, of course, you guys have red, I believe, for your color, right? That's our sports color. But sorry to give you that long-winded.
No, appreciate the details.
Yeah,
So
right.
it was the prompting of a store owner in Billerica
Yes.
that asked you when was this going to be done?
Mm-hmm.
You kept giving dates, and they didn't happen by then.
Right.
Did you try contacting DPW or?
We talked about it at all the selectmen's meetings. It was going to be done. The manager, our town manager, Mr. John Curran, he said that it was, this project's going to be wrapped up at this date. It's going to be wrapped up at that date. We decided we wanted to start finding the contractor. but it didn't come to fruition. So also, I have a group home. I live on Andover Road myself, and there's a group home adult
Andover Road is located where?
right
In
out of
Billerica?
Billerica Center. Yeah.
Right in the center there.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. If you by the barber shop, it's right where our access television there, and our ball field, O'Connor's. You know O'Connor's.
Yep.
It's right on the back exit of O'Connor's. Our
Okay.
ball field, our premier Little League field is there. Our Kids Connections ball field is there. Then up a little ways is the barber shop. And these crosswalks, a lot of kids use it, people use it. They were down to nothing. You couldn't really see them. So I just did the green, and I worked on them on Friday afternoon. Friday night, Saturday morning was rainy. I worked on Saturday afternoon, Saturday night a bit. And on Sunday, a police car was going by, and I was up in the center. I finished up pretty much what I wanted to do with the green background as a test. I just wanted to show, first of all for safety, but also that a background with the white over it I thought would be, ubiquitous around town if we did them all that way. But anyhow, the police man asked me if I knew anything about these crosswalks, and I had green paint all over my hands, and I said yes, I painted them. And,
Had this issue come up at the last Selectmen's meeting?
yes, it came up in all of them. We were trying to pressure, when is this, all the selectmen wanted, to get this
Sure.
job done. And we paid extra money. Again, it was supposed to be done in November of last year.
How do the other Selectmen feel about this? Are they opposed to you, or are they giving you any support? Are they indifferent? Have you heard from them?
Can I just ask a slightly different question?
Go ahead.
How many people came out and thanked you for doing this for the town, for stepping up to the plate, for something that wasn't getting done?
Well, I've gotten cards from Vermont. I got a thing from Henry David Thoreau from Civil Disobedience, which, we are the road commissioners also, the selectmen. But while I was doing it, a lot of people appreciated it. Some older people were
was a
coming
favor.
across. And getting back, I got several cards. The media came forward, they really descended upon our town, rather quickly the next morning. I was very surprised, because when it came to the Billerica Center, the vote of Save the Center, I called Howie Carr. A lot of people, I started the initiative, but a lot of people helped. We had to get 5% of the electorate to force a special election. Within 5 days we did that. But anyway, so they came in, and many people were thankful. I went on Dan Ray, Dan Ray, the
Yep.
Boston
Yes.
commentator. I went on his show, and surprisingly, because I helped a lot of these selectmen. We just changed our board pretty. The majority of the board changed since that. These guys didn't want to advertise the vote. 2 guys I helped a lot, which doesn't mean anything. I don't expect anything back in return from them. But I have been, a strong advocate for the people. I don't miss meetings. I care about our town, and all of the Board of Selectmen members asked me to resign because I went out of the purvey. Not only did they ask me to resign, a couple of them tried to I won't say strong arm tactics, but they said that if I didn't resign, this was Sunday night, by Monday morning when the clerk's office opened, that I would have potential felony charges versus misdemeanor charges. Because what happened is the manager called, it was all dry. I used the California, they said it was a deck paint, but it was California all floor. And I put it on very thin, and I worked hard. I actually had blisters on my feet because I was pushing down real hard. I had a light roller, a dry roller to pick up the excess so it would dry quick. And I had a cone. I never circumvented or made it dangerous, But anyway, getting back to the selectmen, they said that.
So they were unappreciative.
Yeah, they said if I didn't resign, I'd probably get a felony, and I want to be a high school. I passed the teacher's test for history a few years ago I'm certified
Great.
middle school. So I really wasn't that happy about what they said, but you know how politics are. If one guy, if I would have resigned, well, I think one of the other guy's friends, he ran recently, which I gave him a good hand, he would have stepped in for my place. So anyway, that's what I think happened.
Politics.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Real
Did you say
politics.
this is usually done every year?
Yes, yes.
So they need to be repainted that often?
Right, they wear out with the plows. I don't know what you guys do down here, but Yeah, they were really faded, and well, I don't know if you heard, we were going to possibly are in the process of getting a new school. The MSBA is, agreed, and we're in the process. If we vote for the debt exclusion, we're going to be building a new school, and they wanted to move the school out of the area that it is onto Andover Road. So we had a traffic study done 3 months ago. It's a 25-mile-per-hour zone where the ball field is, and that's exactly where they laid the traffic study. And the average speed was 41, average, and that's in the morning. It's backed up. So that was where one of the crosswalks was, to show you, somebody was going to get killed, and we kept talking about it. And I figured, as a road commissioner, that I would, I wasn't sure exactly about my purvey, and I didn't want to go into day-to-day operations of the town. But, I was starting to become a liar to the people around town in that area that wanted the crosswalks.
What was holding it
I
up?
was just going to ask, I mean, if it's something that's done yearly, what was the big holdup?
Actually, the town manager, Mr. John Curran, said that he wanted to wait, that when they did it all together at once, it would have been cheaper, to get out there and do it. We have a $145 million budget. Yeah.
I still don't understand why the other selectmen didn't appreciate the fact that you did something that the town needed, whether it be on just a temporary basis or until they could get to it.
Mm-hmm.
It still sounds like you should have been thanked by each of the other selectmen.
Well, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I mean, like I say, we were on very good terms. Like, I helped. We have Selectman Piscatelli. He's actually, I think, was brought up in Burlington. He was the chairman. I actually nominated him. I sort of could have been up for the chairmanship myself, but he really wanted the job, and he actually asked me if I would nominate him. It's my re-election year for me, which doesn't mean anything, but he said, and I was busy with, the school. I was a vocal advocate of not moving the school out of the position it was. We would have had to buy the land where we're going to. We would have not been reversed by the Massachusetts School Building Association to knock down our old school. And it was very costly. Plus, the new area was going to eliminate our ball field that was there, and the land that we were going to buy, the title was under question, and also it used to be a dumping ground. So who knows what we would have found there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it really was disheartening for these guys. They were on the radio, and they said that I'm their friend. It's in the newspaper, and I've done a lot of great things for the town, but I crossed the line, and one guy said I'm a criminal, and I'm not guilty yet. But
Of what would you be guilty other than helping the town?
it says I was defacing public property, but I'm a professional painter. I bought good paint. I was careful what I did, and I just wanted to, protect our citizens in the center, and our town was not doing it.
I think your intent was honorable. I can't imagine that they could find something negative about that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, defacing property, you were doing something to help the people of Billerica. Doesn't make any sense.
You were replacing paint that was once there,
Mm-hmm.
and just putting it back down there.
At his own cost.
That's not defacing. That's
Yeah.
Well,
It's already a structure. It's already something already painted.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry. Yes.
No, have you spoken to people in Billerica?
I have.
Lots of-
People are trying to give me money now for the. Well, what happened is why the money situation came up so big, is that at 2 o'clock on Sunday, the police were. I know a lot of the police in town, which doesn't mean anything, but they asked me. I could have said no, I wasn't doing it. I could have walked away, but I was by the edge of the road, and so they called the lieutenant. The guys came down. They said, we're going to have to call the manager. Don't paint anymore, and go home. And I said, sure. Not go home. They didn't make me go home, but don't do any more. So when I got home about 3 o'clock, one of the Board of Selectmen members called and said, you're all done as selectmen. You're going to have to resign on Monday morning, or you're going to be facing a felony charge, because the manager was calling out the DPW to power wash this. And I said, but why do they want to power wash it? And he said, green is not a historical color for the center, and it's illegal. And I said, well, you don't have to power wash it, because that will ruin the road. If you don't think green's appropriate, we can paint it black. and I would be more than willing to paint it black and hire a police detail. So I called the manager.
Wow.
I called the manager at his home, or wherever he was, and he already came and looked at it, and he said, I treated this guy with the utmost respect. We had not a very good relationship to begin because of that center deal. I said he wanted to do over, our Rotary in Billerica Center,
Yes.
we were going to eliminate the Rotary. We would have had, it was going to be 2 lanes each way, and the parking that is in front of those little stores would have not been vertical, it would have been parallel parking. I think it made our town look like Salem, New Hampshire.
I think you have a very nice center of town there. I like the way the Rotary works. I like the little gazebo you have in the little common area.
Yeah.
Why would you want to get rid of that?
It was one of the best things about our town. It still keeps us to feel like we are a town. So anyway, he didn't appreciate me that well, and but it's been 2 years since I've been on 2.5 years on the Board of Selectmen. I treat him with the utmost respect, and so when I called him, he said when he answered the phone, I said, Mr. Curran, he said, you're all done. He said, you should resign first thing in the morning. I go, I've never talked to you like that. And he said, you're all done. You should resign first thing in the morning. And so I said, but you don't have to power wash the green paint. I said, if you don't, he said, that's the wrong color. It's against the ordinance. And I said, well, just paint it black. And he said, you're all done. And he hung up the phone on me. And that's where it started from them. And then luckily the news media came in. Moscow television called. I did a interview from Moscow.
And Burlington and beyond.
Yeah. And like I say, Dan Ray, Jorge Quiroga was at my house, and all these. It was really rather a whirlwind. It was surreal to say the least.
I heard you
Should
on
run for
RKO.
Oh, you did, yeah.
With Kim Kerrigan.
She was very nice, yeah. And the chairman of the Board of Selectmen called. Did you hear him?
I did not know.
He said that the media was over. She said it seems like a lot of people are supporting George Simolaris, and Mr. Piscatelli, our chairman, said, well, no, he said, I'm on social media, and it's overwhelmingly the support is for him to resign. So, and they also said that if I didn't resign, there'd be a recall and I'd be out. And I said, bring on the recall, because I think most people did appreciate what I did. I mean, I spent a lot of time at it. I did it carefully, and I really was not trying to be a maverick. I was really concerned that this should have been done.
I did want to recall the town manager.
I said it's publicly in the paper that if I am elected again, that I will not support the town manager. I didn't vote for his new contract last time. The fellas that tried to, I won't say, hide the election of the center, they padded his contract before the last election. If we get rid of him, usually it's a 3-month payout. If the Board of Selectmen at any one time can come together and vote to dismiss him, the manager, but he's getting 8 months pay now. That was the new contract, and he got a raise, and so it's hard to work through politics, as you know, and but I said it publicly that I would not, because of a myriad of reasons. Nothing against him personally, but sometimes it's good for a change, and I believe this is one of those times.
think
With
that-
all of this notoriety, you should maybe consider running for a higher office.
Well, thank you very much. That's a really.
I probably like everyone else, I heard the story and heard bits of it and whatnot, and my first thought was, gee, why would he do a foolish thing like that?
Mhm.
But now delving into the details, I can see that it was an honorable intent to help the town. I don't think that it warrants that kind of animosity. The other selectmen, I think, are just doing it for whatever reason. They're being a little bit overzealous, I think. I don't see any reason. I mean, you didn't hurt anyone.
No, well, I think there's a little more to it than meets the eye, and I really don't want to be airing out Billerica's dirty laundry.
No.
But I would say that I'm an independent, and I did run for state rep 25 years ago. I lost by 186 votes, and I raised zero money. I made my own signs, let George do it, Simolaris for state rep, because as a painter and a history man, I used to listen to Jerry Williams and Barbara Anderson, and I'm from a big family. I don't waste money. I'm a conservative sort of fellow. I don't mean conservative in the sense of, of a tea party or something, but I don't waste water. I try not to waste money. I care about our earth and our environment. And anyway, I gave it a shot, and I came very close. Brian Candramila won.
Oh, yeah.
And then he ended up becoming a state rep later. And then I had a family after that, and I was busy in coaching. I was always a town meeting member. But the point is, I'm very flattered that you would say that. But this is what happened, is these guys are heavy, I won't say heavy Republicans, Mr. Piscatelli, Mr. Lombardo, Mr. Rosa, and their other Republican fellow that there's a friend is Smilgus, Steve Smilgus, and he would have been taking my spot if I would have resigned. And I don't mind that these guys even said that they wanted me to resign, which was rather quick. But I do mind that they said that if I did not resign, I would probably get a felony charge on me, and that would end my opportunity to be a school teacher, which I've always had that dream. I went back to college. I graduated at age 49 from ULowell cum laude a few years ago, which I'm still in the band over there. I'm a guest player, I'm a trumpet player. But the point is that, as we go on from this point, I have to work with these fellows and the town manager, and of course that's what I will do, and try to bring our new school to fruition. And we're trying to sewer the rest of our town, which is going to be about $260 million over the next 15 years. And
wow.
And we already have we have a big unfunded liability problem. We only have less than $1 million in our unfunded liabilities for our health insurance retirements, and it's getting bigger. This year, $13 million grabbed into our budget from both sides, town side,
Wow.
school sides, and of course we have Middlesex retirement that we also
county
pay
retirement,
into.
right?
We're part of
We
that
have the
retirement,
same.
too.
We have the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
That's a big issue every year.
We borrowing. The way I see our town, I love our town. I love Billerica, but we're not going to have. They say the manager says we have plenty of money, but we're going to be doing the sewer. We're paying the unfunded liabilities. We owe about $90 million in long-term debt now. The new $100 million school is supposed to be $75 million. The state's giving us half, but it's up to about 100. It's going to come to a debt exclusion override, but I won't even count that. But add in the 260 million for sewer. Other schools are falling down, and 80%. We have 1,057 or 1,060, I believe, full-time employees. That's a lot of full-time employees. And
So a lot of retirement, a lot of post-retirement insurance too.
And most of the people are paying 10% of their health insurance at this point. And
Wow.
and we're under the residents are. So I'm a fiscal watchdog. I know I'm not anti-union. I'm not anti, but there has to be. We're going to be going broke if we don't start looking at some way to curb our spending. And our young people. That's what I'm thinking of. It's going to be $10,000 a year for tax. If you give somebody a house, they'll be paying $1,000 a year for tax and insurance in another 10 years. Maybe I hope it's not that quick, but
Sounds so familiar. We're facing a lot of the same problems too. Unfunded liability, the OPEB is a great big issue with us.
And the continued spending too. There just seems to be no stopping it.
right.
At least we haven't learned how to yet.
Yes, and in Billerica, people say to me, I'm on the streets a lot, and they say, I don't have any kids in the schools. I'm all for paying for schools, and it's all I want is a good road, that we can drive. But they're worried about getting some green paint on the car, which I was very careful when I did do those crosswalks to stay on it until it dried on each section I did. But it could have happened that someone did. But on 129, a road that we were doing sewer on, we worked on it through the winter. Some families lost 2 tires blown out of these holes that were there. They worked on it right during the middle of the winter. A lot of towns have moratoriums after November. That's it for digging up the roads, except for emergencies. But I love our town. We have everybody talks about how great our tax rate is. I think it's $16 per thousand, but we tax pretty much, I won't say to the max, but close to it on our commercial industrial. And, you know, we're not in quite the location that you guys are in with the highways, but we're in a good shape with Route 3 there.
No, you've got an ideal spot too.
Yeah. And everything's for new growth. How much new growth do you want to do? We get all of our water out of the Concord River, and, you know, we've already squandered a lot of open space. You know, I don't want to be dependent on new growth to survive. You know?
Things are busy enough. You don't want to continue to depend on growth.
Yes.
And we'd like some restraint at the town level as far as budget matters. They don't have to be going up 2% every year.
Right. We asked for 2%, and this year it went up 3.7%. That's what it's going to go up. Yeah.
You pay 10% of their health insurance? Did I understand that correctly?
They pay 10% of their health insurance.
The employees.
The employees,
I'm pretty
okay.
sure that all the unions are different, but I believe that the police, fire are 10%. You know, and
So the town picks up the rest of it?
Yes.
Sounds like there could be some room for negotiation there.
Yes, I mean, you know, it's not like that I want to be against the police and fire. They're my friends and neighbors, and but you know, at least for the new people, we have to starting to think about our residents and the future of our town, or we'll be going bankrupt. What will happen is the libraries will be, you know, pretty much 80% of our budget right now goes to salaries.
Wow.
So it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
I'm a self-employed painter. I don't get 80 cents of a dollar. And that's all I need is a couple paintbrushes, a truck, and a ladder, and insurance. And I still can't. So how do you run a whole town when you're paying 80% of your budget for salaries? And we've lost. We had 6,000 I think we had 6,000 something students in our public schools in 2008, and now we're down to 5,000. We lost 1,000 students, but you know, of course, inflation and things, but our schools eat up more than 50% of the budget.
Why would you be losing that many students? People moving out of town, or?
Well, 500 kids go to the Shawsheen Tech and other techs.
It's an excellent school.
It is an excellent school. Innovation Charter School is in Tingsboro.
Yeah.
I think there's quite a few go to there, and you know, things like that, and private schools.
Have they decided on where the high school is going to be?
Yes, they decided that it's going to stay where it is now.
Oh.
Yeah, and I made a video on that. I took the camera around, just saying I thought it was a bad plan, and I came under a lot of fire on that. People wanted me to be quiet and let the experts. It was a 15-member building committee that was going to choose the site, and then basically once they choose the site, I mean, I talked to the Massachusetts School Building Association. We still could have been in the pipeline if we disagreed, if the override. But I had to go to town meeting first,
Sure.
and then it'll go to the people. But I said it was a bad plan, and they came after me to be quiet, don't talk. The 15-member building committee, 5 people did not live in Billerica. It was the manager and the superintendent who did not live in Billerica, and 5 employees that worked for them. It was the principal of one school, nothing against any of these guys, the building facilities manager at the school, the town manager hired the building inspector, he was on it. So, I mean, I didn't think it was a good makeup of our town.
Yeah.
And I came out early saying I think this is a bad plan, and I will try to derail it to put it back to where it belongs.
Sure.
Plus the police station, fire station, ambulance was all on that site. It's on Boston Road. It was on Good Street. It was on 3 roads. This would have been one backed up road. And to make matters worse, I wouldn't have been able to see the school from my own home, but it was near my house, so it looked like that I had some kind of reasoning why I didn't, but it wasn't. It was just a bad plan, and so. But anyway, that was another story. If you could, Billerica's got some tough politics going on.
I think we could probably match you in several of these stories.
Yeah.
But this one right here about painting the walkways, and you definitely have our support.
Well, thank you so much.
I wanted to ask you, did they really bring charges against
They
you
did
there?
bring charges on me. I don't want to read for you guys, but this was one of the papers. I don't want to bore you. It says he went green on the crosswalks. If you put my name in and say Simolaris crosswalks, you'll see all the interviews that popped up. But it says on here, no, I don't want to read for you guys. Simolaris to face charges on crosswalk case. He's been urged to resign by fellow board members after causing a stir, and misdemeanor complaint, 2 charges, I guess. And what they basically said in here is that the cleanup of the paint's been $4,200. I said I would pay it, and they said for defacing public property in Massachusetts, the punishment could be 3 years in state prison, 2 years in jail,
God.
a fine up to $1,500, and you also could lose your license. But you know, what are you
That
going to
is
say?
absurd.
Yes, I thought it was, and we are the road commissioners, you know, too. But
What does that mean when you're the road commissioners? All of
the
the
5
selectmen?
selectmen, in other words, we are the ones that would say if we were going to, somebody wanted to do bump outs in our center. When we put the crosswalks through, to make it safer after the center didn't go, somebody wanted to have a bump out. You know where like our center is the green area in the middle. They
Yep.
wanted to have 4 bump outs at each crosswalk, which would have went into traffic, which I thought was a very poor idea.
Yeah.
So the selectmen would have voted whether the bump outs stay or go. And thank goodness, it was another tough debate there. The bump outs did not come into play. Because imagine if they were there this winter during that snow, and you know, it was.
George, you know a lot of town meeting members?
I do. The town meeting members were mainly the people that wanted to push that center project through.
I was going to ask you a bit more about details on that town center project. It doesn't. Well, what were they trying to accomplish?
They said it would have been a better traffic flow, and they said that
That's probably true.
yeah, it probably would have been. But what it would have done, it would have took our town feel out of it. You know, and it was a 2.5-year project. And you know where Andover Road is, where the barber shop is, and River Street, that would have been a straight through area. It would have been, you know, like I say, 2 lanes each way plus the other 3rd lane. It would have looked rather like a little highway there.
Yeah.
And
Because what really slows traffic down a lot in Billerica is on 3A, how they've made it 1 lane instead of 2, how you have the white line painted out.
yes,
So in Burlington, we use it as virtual 2 lanes.
yes,
In Billerica, you have it painted so you can only use it as 1 lane. So
yes,
that really causes a backup
it really does.
with rush hour.
We're trying to get a bike path in Billerica. That might help a little bit. But we don't have sidewalks on Boston Road. I notice when I come into Burlington, and I notice when I leave Billerica to go to Lowell. I'm in Lowell a lot. I'm still at Lowell down there, and I go to frequent Lowell here and there. But Billerica, we don't have sidewalks on, like from Bear Hill and down there. It's very sporadic and beat up, and that really bothers me. Well, another thing that we had this year was our $37 million temporary prison expansion. Did you hear about that?
Now, I did hear about that. I wonder
Yeah.
if you could tell us how that went and what was the story behind that? It's going to be expanded?
It was expanded. It
was
happened as
expanded.
fast as you can say Jackrabbit. You know, I mean, you talk about the state lagging and not getting jobs done. They got that job done rather quickly.
Did the selectmen have a say on this matter?
That was
town
it.
meeting have a say?
No, they didn't. The selectmen.
It was-
I just got into we found out about it on the day of the election, of the Save the Center election, when we basically stopped that project. And I only wanted our voters to vote, to know about it. Instead of town meeting making that big choice, I just tried to bring the election to the majority of the voters. I would have been happy. I didn't want to see the center change, but I wanted our voters. It was too small of amount of people to, you know, set the tone of how our town center was going to look. But anyway, right, that came out about the prison that day of the election. And the selectmen said they were all against it, so we're on a water ban all the time. So I made some
seen
signs.
that.
I'm sorry that I said that, you know, we're already on a water ban. Boston is forcing this, and it was temporary. They used the term, this is a $37 million temporary. They closed the Cambridge jail down, and they said eventually they're going to build a jail, you know, somewhere else, you know, for Middlesex County. Who knows when?
And so what was
It's
the-
temporary with government usually.
Yeah, right, nothing.
What was the cost of this temporary expansion?
They said it was 37 million, and it ended up to be 42 million. They built it. You know, I wanted to get. I said that we had negotiations, and I said at least you should be able to put sidewalks on Boston Road, because you know they also have taken over one of our schools for training, in Pinehurst, our southern area of Billerica.
Oh, yeah, I know
They
where it
have
is, yeah.
they've taken over that school.
Yeah.
And, I'm not against the sheriff's department at all, and but the state they had 37 million to put a temporary prison there. Why can't we have sidewalks on our state road? And as we know, we don't have money to do it. We can't. We just.
But how, do they own that land? Does the state own that land where they put it?
Yeah, they own the prison, but here's the problem: they were taking more water. They wanted to take. I think they're taking a. Anyway, they wanted their allotment of water. I can't exactly what it was, millions of gallons per day.
Sure.
Or not per day, but I'm saying thousands of gallons per day. We're allowed 5 million gallons, I think, per day out of the river. I can't think of the stats on it right now. But the point is they wanted to increase. They were below their water allotment. And even with 180 new prisoners, they still would have been, that's what it was going to be, 200 more person addition. And they still would have been below their, what they, per capita, we use, I think, 54 gallons of water per day. And so their permit would have accommodated them. But they wanted more, which is funny. And then I went down myself to appeal it. You have so many days to appeal it. A guy told me, it was in the back of the legal ads, that the Department of Environmental Protection, they were asking for more. And the manager was supposed to, at the request of the Board of Selectmen, appeal it. I went myself as a private citizen. The Department of Environmental Protection is, it's down where Stelios used to be in, when you're getting on 93, Tewksbury. It's in Tewksbury.
Oh,
so I went
yeah,
myself over there to put in the appeal. And they never did hear our appeal. They gave it to them. And they, so who knows what's going on with that. That was another thing.
Who gave it to who?
Who
gave it to the state?
Department of Environmental Protection gave them the water permit above and beyond what they needed.
But that's with a ban. Billerica already has a ban on water. I've seen the sign.
Yeah, in the
Say,
spring.
do you have ongoing water shortage problems? It seems like we see frequently see signs about water restrictions.
Yes. Yes.
Even though we've had record rains.
Record rains. As soon as the springtime comes, we're on a water ban sign goes up. So I painted some signs. We're on a water ban. Stop prison expansion. The state and the manager instructed the building inspector to go around to every house that had a sign that said "Stop prison expansion," and told the people with the notice if they didn't take the sign down, it was going to be $100 a day fine that would be assessed on their taxes. So because the sign was some were bigger, but they were all in their yards. So we bought signs. I bought the signs. StopPrisonExpansion.com. It's still out there. I made a video. It's called StopPrisonExpansion.com.
I don't understand, why couldn't they use their own signs? Everyone makes their own signs.
By law.
It seems like a bylaw about the size or some regulations.
Yes, bylaws. Our bylaw is 1 foot by 1 foot. So if every political sign is basically out of, they're all illegal because it's 1 foot by 1 foot for a political sign.
A little small to read when you're driving by.
Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, like I said, I love my town. We have a lot of great people in town. We have a great town, but we have a lot of issues to try to work through for the future of our town. But I don't want to be. I love Burlington. I come into Burlington a lot, and it's our neighbor over here.
I'm impressed. You're not angry. I would be, if that happened to me, I would be angry with the other selectmen, certainly, or people that are. I don't see what you've done wrong. I really don't. I think you made an effort to do something to help the town. I think they're going out of their way to find reasons.
They are going out of my way, and I could see the manager. He hasn't been that really nice to me, and I'm not complaining about that. That's politics. But the other selectmen, I was disheartened. But my son put it to me. He's in Boston Toastmasters, and he's a biologist, and he happened to have to come home for a little while. He's 24 or 5. Actually, I think he's 26. But anyway. So last night he said, "Geez, Dad," he said, "I'm amazed." He said that all of your board members, I think 3 or 4, have said that they want you to resign, and yet you're not, encumbered by it at all. He said, and you're still rather. I said, but I think I did the right thing, and I think these guys have their own agenda, and I'm going to have to work with them. So, I don't want to be their enemy, but like I say, they did use the strong arm tactic of they basically said, if you don't resign, you're going to get the felony, you'll never be a teacher. And but I took my father came over. Luckily, he's 84. He's still in great shape. And they said they'll take your guns. And I used to hunt. I never got anything. And I said, Dad, I really haven't went hunting in 15 years. Not that I would want to have a felony or any charge against me. And I want to get a job as a teacher, but I'm 57 years old now. I haven't. I'll take my chance for the jury trial. That's how I figured it. And then they gave me the misdemeanor charges. Thank goodness. That's how that stood. But that's politics.
You plan to appeal that?
I do. People have been trying to mail me money and give me money.
We're so glad.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that I said that as a road commissioner, and some people said, what kind of, what are you trying to say to young people if someone goes and defaces property, or, what kind of a message are you sending if you don't throw the book at this guy?
How is it defacing property? I didn't see that.
I don't get it, but I said to that comment, well, what if somebody got hit by a car, a kid got hit, or an adult? There's a group home, the Little League field, the Kids Connection, and I don't want to bring the paper out again, but right on the Monday paper where it says I painted those crosswalks, and above it, a kid got hit in Lowell. It's a picture on a crosswalk that's faded. So, I feel that the buck had to stop somewhere. I'm a selectman in town, and I was starting to become a liar. They're going to be done. They're going to be done, and
I think the only mistake that you might have made was not in contacting the highway department just before you did it and said, when are you going to do this? People are on my back. I'm a selectman. I represent them. I want to honor my word. If you're not going to do it, I'll do it.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe that's
I
what
think
you might have thought about, but I even above and beyond that, I don't see the action as being detrimental in any way to the town, certainly.
Yeah, I have, we're meeting next Monday, and I have an agenda item that I want to take a vote on the next Monday to have all the crosswalks and stops, they're written on the road, the stop that wears out, done by the end of August. Because their argument is that, we want to get them done before school starts. They were supposed to be done by May around the center. But when kids get out of school, that's the time that they're on the roads.
Right.
And 129, have you ever been on 129 in Billerica, Salem Road?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You ride your bike. I used to live on the road for 13 years, right on it. And just trying to cross that road, or I see kids riding their bikes on that road, there's no sidewalks. We
Right.
just did the road over.
Right.
Why no sidewalks?
Yeah.
But, maybe they don't have the money. We don't have the money. It's not they. The buck had to stop somewhere. Somebody did not get this public safety issue done. It's the selectmen are supposed to be the executive board of the town. The manager's supposed to carry out what their wishes are in town meeting, and he did not do the job. And this is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's a lot of other things.
When was it passed in town meeting? One of the agreement to do all of that work?
The selectmen to talk.
That's exclusively the selectmen.
It was exclusively the selectmen.
Okay.
We had some money in the center fund. It was tip money. The Department of Transportation money that they give out extra over the year.
Yeah.
And we paid extra money. Basically, it was just pavers through the center. We changed some curbs, put in some crosswalk lights that weren't there. This, the crosswalk people called me up. They get the manufacturers of crosswalk lights, and they wanted to sell it through the selectmen. And they said, it's a one-day installation of these crosswalk. Some of them are solar. We have the ones that they don't go over the road. It's just the flashing ones. And then they put the brick pavers through. It should have never have taken that amount of time, but it did, and it's still not done now.
I'm just wondering what the reason might have been to procrastinate doing that. Do you think maybe they had the intention of putting the pavers on all of them, or what?
No, I know they
weren't. What would be the reason to hold off if it's a simple painting job?
You know what? They could have painted those later. I'm not looking at any conspiracy items, but I'm telling you, I don't think the manager minded. that this job was looking pretty ugly over there, the center. And maybe because they didn't get their big goal of what they wanted to do the whole center over. I don't know the reason, I can't think, but I do know one thing. It was a public safety issue for our residents. There's a wheelchair lady, lives a couple houses down from me. She rides her wheelchair, crosses those. There's a group home. A couple of guys I know that a lot of people walk to the center. We have all the concerts. I missed our concert tonight, and I saw your concert was out going on there on the Common. And all this has been going on and going on. If I was painting your house, and I told you I'd be done in a few months, and I didn't show up for months, they showed up. Not only it was public safety, they backed our traffic up a lot worse than it was, because you'd have a policeman out there on detail, and you'd have a couple guys working for a few hours, and in the morning during rush hour. So there was a lot of issues over there.
Well, let me ask you about one other issue that kind of affects Burlington. That was the Middlesex Turnpike extension through and into Billerica.
Right.
Now that I thought was time to have been completed. Certainly by now, but at least a year or two ago.
Right.
But it seems like for a long time it was just sitting there, and still parts of it appears to be, well, somebody works on it when there's time.
Right.
Could you tell us the story?
I could tell you the story about that. This project, the Middlesex Turnpike, was authorized by the state and federal government funding, and we only had to pay, I think also as you guys, is for your design. If you pay for the design, it started in 1984 when they started doing this. And we're going to get the last 2.6 miles done. Where EMD Serrano is right now, when you come up on Middlesex Turnpike, where Bassett used to be, that road that they just reconfigured. I forget the name of that road. Crosby Drive, I think?
That's it, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all done up the Crosby Drive, and there's only 2.6 miles left. Most of that is in Billerica, a small portion's in Bedford. So that's going out. This project was supposed to be $8 million, I think, to begin with. It turned out in 1984 it was going to be $8 million in total. Then it was $16 million, and now it's up to like $24 million. And I'm not exactly sure on these facts, but it's somewhere around there. But I know that we have a 2.6 mile part left. It's where the 99 is in Billerica.
Yep.
It's going to go from where Bassett is and Crosby Drive up by the gun club, where Woburn Sportsman Club is.
Yep.
And it's going to end, right there on.
About the lake?
No, way before the lake.
Before.
Which it's good because we don't want to turn our beautiful lake. We didn't want to, make that a big
Highway.
Yeah, highway over there. But it's going to end on Manning Road, I think, is over there. By the 99, and that's gonna go out to bid in 2016. The state works so slow, and
So
and
it's
then
more of a state issue then.
yeah, and then it's gonna probably commence work in 2017, and I think it's gonna be a 2 or 3 year completion. So by 2020, we'll have the Middlesex Turnpike completed. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate that update.
Right, which is, the sooner the better. But the government is very slow, as we all know. And
How do you feel about your town meeting?
I put a warrant article on this year, in last fall. I supported the warrant. I had to go before the Rules Committee to talk about forming a committee to improve town meeting, or possibly talk about changing our form of government to city council with the mayor. And the reason that I did do that, I'm a history major. I love town meeting. How the essence of town meeting, open town meeting is really nice where everybody can speak. Representative town meeting is, really good. But what's happening is that there's a lot of employees. And I said that, I stood up in front of town meeting. It's hard as a selectman to stand up there, and I did. And I said, I don't want to disenfranchise anybody, but I think that, you could still run. Residents, people that are firemen, policemen, teachers could still run for town meeting. And but at least that if we had a city council, people are so busy these days. I also said if we didn't change to another form of government, we could mail a warrant out what we're going to be voting out with the water bill, so people at home would know what was going on. Things like that. It was voted down 90 to 38 to make a committee to improve it. And right after that, it was voted to take away the option to buy health insurance for the selectmen. The selectmen only can do it, but town meeting at a sense of town meeting, and they voted to take away the option for the selectmen, which I get paid $1,800 a year, and I didn't run for the money, of course, but I could buy on to the health insurance program, and I think I paid $1,600 or $1,700 of my pay, because you are an employee if you're a selectman. And so only the Board of Selectmen can vote to take it away. They just did vote a few months ago to I could not vote because I do collect it, but they voted that selectmen as of 2017 will not be able to purchase health insurance from the town. And they're going to save $5,000. It will be zero savings, not 1 cent, to any taxpayer or business. So what I said about that you're making it that only a rich person can be a selectman, because it takes a lot of time to be a selectman. I mean, I'm honored to do it, I'm proud to do it, but if you don't have a lot of time, I'm lucky to work for myself, you do have to rather be wealthy. Because, I mean, you're doing a lot of things as selectman. You go Eagle Scout, Silver Award, the Girl Scout Awards, and like I say, I'm very honored to do it. But we've always had the option for the last 50 years or whatever that the selectmen could buy health insurance. But, first of all, not one town meeting member that voted to do the center over wrote a letter to the editor to allow people to vote. The selectmen that are now pretty much bounced out of there, that were selectmen, they voted not to have a robocall. We had a special election. Once we got the 1,500 signatures, the selectmen had between 7 and 10 days to set an election date. And remember, if 20% of our 27,000 voters didn't vote, it was called a no vote. It didn't count. We needed 5,400 people. If 5,000 people voted not to change the center, it would have changed anyway. So they wouldn't do a robocall, and they placed the election date on Monday before Thanksgiving during school. And we've never had an election that wasn't town election. It was on Saturday. And we've never had any 20% of our electorate vote. Town elections don't garner 20%. But this one garnered 48%. So these fellows don't like me that much over there. But I guess, I'm smiling, I'm happy. I think that, still this boards can work together. And,
George, why did you, what thoughts did you have when you wanted to change, you thought about changing town meeting? Why? Because of the representation that was not really representing what the town was made of? Is that
the apathy of voters? And I can understand it. First of all, if you become a town meeting, it's ambiguous what you're voting on. You don't know. If you say something, the ridicule of town meeting. If you get up to speak at town meeting, the people they boo you, and they can and people are intimidated at town meeting. And like I say, I'm not against policemen. I'm not against firemen. I passed the school teacher's test. I took the fireman's test. But when you get, let's face it. I mean, when you get a lot of teachers, a lot of policemen, a lot of firemen, and their families voting, how can you
exactly right
have
exactly right?
And so the way that it could happen is if more people are going to come out and join town meeting. But when is that going to happen? I quit town meeting. I didn't quit. I was a town meeting member for about 20 years. And I got out of it because I was always a sports coach and things, and I really enjoyed that a lot more. But we had a chance to buy a farmer's land, 186 acres of land, for $2.1 or $2.2 million. And Chelmsford gets all their water from wells. And this land was on the Chelmsford Plateau, that if our river, we get all of our water from the Concord River. It's pretty amazing. And that's why I'm leery about new growth also, because of the water resource. But anyway, we could have bought it as right of first refusal. I had my hand raised Howie Carr calls us Billerica, Somerville with trees. Let's please vote to get it keep it that way. The Conservation Commission said how important this land was, and I was going to say we could build a school there. We could have an open space. They moved the question, and it was voted to not buy the land and develop it for tax base. We need new growth. If we don't get new growth like crazy, we're going to be in big trouble in Billerica.
George, you're seeing what's happening in Burlington as well. You know, we appreciate your heroism.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for getting involved as a citizen. When the government doesn't do it, us citizens need to step in.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We have some quick town business to take
Sure.
care of here.
Yeah, I'll be quiet.
Please
Sorry.
stay here. We have coming up this Saturday something called Celebrate Burlington, which we all hope you will attend. We will have our own booth there. And Pat, would you like to describe what's happening at our booth this year?
Yeah. We've done this for the last 2 years. 2 years, right? Yeah. 2 years, and we've had a lot of fun, and it's been a success for us. Perhaps not quite as great a success as we would have liked, but it's been a lot of fun. We will be cooking sausages, Bianco sausages, hamburgers, quarter pounders, all beef, and some great hot dogs. We will have slush from Spataforas, and we will certainly have drinks and chips, and we'd be honored if anyone would stop by. You don't have to buy anything, just come by and say hello. We are the group of Burlington and beyond, and we're a great group, and we would be happy to meet any of the people from the town.
And George, we invite you to stop by. We hope
I am
you do.
going to stop by. I really appreciate this show, and we have some great shows in Billerica Access Television, and thank goodness for Access Television to get the point out. And
If they'd like a copy of our show, let us know.
right, yeah, well, anyway, yeah, I will. I'd like to get a copy myself, but I appreciate what you do, and I'd like you to come up to Billerica someday, and or I'll be more than happy to come back on this show. But Cosmo has a show, Cosmo's Journal, about things, and I think you guys would be great on his show.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah.
A lot interchange between Burlington and Billerica. Our grill on Saturday is going to be coming from
I
O'Connor's.
spend a lot of time at O'Connor's.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
O'Connor's is the hub of our center. Really, it really is nice.
It's a great town. I like Billerica.
I love Billerica, and I'm not bad-mouthing it, but we better start getting our affairs in order, because we owe $90 million in long-term debt now, and I'm worried it's going to be $300 million in long-term debt before 10 years goes by.
Yeah.
And we thought you were doing something about that. And I think they could have at least waited till it was going to be repainted before they repainted it. No reason to power wash it. So it needed to be done anyway. One last word about our show 2 weeks from now. It's going to be Barbara LaRue is going to be joining us. She's head of planning, and we hope that she's going to update us on all the just all the amazing projects that are going on around Burlington. The industrial parks, what's the name of the new place, Corporate Place or
Corporate Drive, yeah. There's the Davis Company is proposing 300 units, or they're about 300 units, and they presented last night. They had a nice presentation. Seem to know what they're talking about, but some of the town people, especially some of the people on, I think it's called Maple Ridge, that area that is already developed, and had some questions, some serious questions. Access is a big problem. The road coming out onto 3A traffic is horrendous all of the time,
So
all the way right through to
So we're looking to hear from Barbara on that, and also what's going to
Yeah.
happen with Building 19 and a half.
Yes.
Hoping to get an update on that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
And see us
George, and
again.
the best of luck to you.
Thank
Next
you,
week.
gentlemen. I really enjoyed your company. You're really an affable bunch of guys. I appreciate it.
Say hello to everyone in Billerica for us.
I will.
Thank you.
Fascinating story, really is. I think I understand.